Let's get your first look at news going on this Friday morning. Nathan has the update from the news studio.
Yeah, thank you very much, John, and good morning, everyone. More information was released yesterday afternoon during a press conference regarding the school shooting that occurred Thursday morning at the Perry High School in Perry. Officials did identify the shooter as a 17-year-old student at that high school. Law enforcement has released the name of the suspect, but Carroll Broadcasting is declining to draw attention to the identity of the shooter, as that's often their intended goal, with notoriety many times being the intention. Law enforcement was first notified of the situation at 7:37 a.m. that there was an active shooter at the school. Assistant Director with the Division of Criminal Investigation, Mitch Mortvit, says the Perry Police Department responded to the school within minutes.
They immediately made entry and witnessed students and faculty either sheltering in place or running from the school. Once inside, they located multiple individuals with gunshot wounds. Officers immediately attempted to locate the source of the threat and quickly found what appeared to be the shooter with a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Mortvit says when additional officers responded, a thorough search of the buildings took place.
Officers located during the search of the school an improvised explosive device. The State Fire Marshal and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms rendered the device safe. Numerous officers from multiple agencies were able to secure the school and verify no additional threats.
Mortvit says alongside law enforcement, first responders were aiding the victims of that shooting.
There are 6 victims, one of them who is deceased. That individual was a 6th grade student at Perry Middle School. The other 5 are being treated at area hospitals. 4 of the surviving victims are students, and the 5th is a school administrator.
Mortvit says the shooter was armed with a pump-action shotgun as well as a small-caliber handgun and acted alone in that shooting. Mortvit says the shooter also created social media posts in and around the time of the incident, and an investigation remains ongoing.
The Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation is serving as the lead investigative agency with assistance from the Perry Police Department, the Dallas County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, the ATF, and the Dallas County Attorney's Office.
Carroll Broadcasting will continue to provide information on the shooting as it is released. As is typical with situations like this, information typically trickles out in the days and weeks ahead. Looking elsewhere, Carroll residents will be unable to enjoy the community ice skating rink in Rolling Hills Park this winter after vandals seriously damaged that venue. In an announcement on Wednesday, city officials said the rink will be closed for the season after the latest in a series of reported vandalism to that site. Authorities say the guilty parties broke into the locked area, damaging the fence, smashing holes in the developing ice and liner, and freezing sticks into the surface, creating a potentially dangerous situation for skaters if they were to open. Due to the extent of the damage, city officials indicated it would not be possible for the rink to operate this season. Anyone with information about the trespassing or resulting damages is asked to contact Carroll City Hall at 792-1000 or the Carroll Police Department at 792-3536. And fuel prices trended downward in the first week of the new year, according to the latest report from the Iowa Department of Agriculture and AAA Iowa. As of Wednesday, January 3rd, the average price for a gallon of regular unleaded gasoline in the state was $2.79, down 1 cent from last week and 22 cents below prices from a year ago. The national average for gasoline on Wednesday was down 3 cents to $3.09 per gallon. Retail diesel prices in Iowa fell 4 cents on the week to an average of $3.65 compared to $4.21 per gallon last year. Local prices remain 33 cents below the national average of $3.98. Wholesale ethanol was unchanged from $2.16, and heating fuels propane prices averaged $1.56 per gallon. Home heating oil averaged $3.01 per gallon, and natural gas prices at the Henry Hub reporting site climbed 16 cents to $2.67, I should say, per MMBTU. And that is going to be wrapping up your KCIM 6 o'clock news. I'm Nathan Cones reporting.
All right, Nathan, we look forward to any more details that come out about the shooting, of course, and we'll have more on that later on. But again, right now, things are still more along the lines of how are the victims doing and what was the motive for that?
Yeah, the motive is something that not sure you'll ever find out. Not to make comparisons, every incident's unique, different causes, all that kind of stuff. But I think to that shooting in Nashville from 8 months ago, a year ago, my sense of time is terrible on these type of things. But the motive for that is still not at least officially released. So it's hard to say when you don't have a suspect in custody. You have to make assumptions about motives.
That's the frustrating thing. You may never know. what caused all of this, the senselessness of it. So
yeah, one thing that does stand out to me that I think is worth talking about anyway is when they're talking about the firearms that are used. I found this extremely frustrating when it first came out, talking about like the weapons used and stuff like that. A lot of speculation. They're using this type of gun, that type of gun, what have you. But when it comes to these types of things, a pump action shotgun and a small caliber handgun, you wouldn't know the difference in terms of the tragedy involved, right? So
irrelevant once that gun is fired. Yeah.
Right. So that's just something I think is people tend to fixate on one single aspect of these types of things. And it's just, that's not the case, right? Like there's so many factors that play into them.
And I'll say one of the things that people get carried away is now is, not the time it is. When is the time? Hopefully the legislature takes up something like this and has a serious discussion about this. I mean, I'm not asking for solutions right this second, but at least begin the conversation. That's all I can say about that.
Yeah, when it comes to those type of things, I mean, we're getting into more editorial talk here. These are signs of cultural decay. I would argue has nothing to do with the tools or weapons used at hand. I mean, there's been, and this has been talked about a million times, talking in circles, so I don't want to dive too deep into it. But you can't legislate morals. It's not a thing that the government is capable of doing.
No, not at all. But again, there's many factors that go into it, many factors. So there are things you can control and other things that you can't. And again, it's up to people, our elected officials, to start that conversation, at least start it. At least that. So thanks, Nathan, once again for the news update. Once again, we'll follow that story throughout.